think it's all right. Cool. So it's just going to be a quick one. Basically, I've just managed to learn how to make the equivalent of the spline walls here in C++. So just to go over it real quick in blueprints, it's up. So I showed this before on a previous stream. Why are you doing this? Just gonna drag this across. There we go. Half of this, right? Clearly now. Okay, so very simply, so we've got an actor component. The actor component has a spline component set as the root, and all we're doing is we're looping through every single point on the spline. We're getting a static mesh component, we're attaching it to the spline, and then we're setting which direction the which side of the mesh is used to be replicated, and then just setting its start and end points. And in order to do that, we get the current point in the loop. So we get the start location, start tangent, and then we get the end location and end tangent, which would of course be the point, the next point on. So I assume this would have been pretty straightforward in C++, and it didn't take me very long. Although I will admit there was some things that I wasn't aware of, stuff that you wouldn't know you needed unless somebody told you about it, sort of thing. It's not something you can learn from documentation, and you have to find someone who actually has a working example, really. So I'll just go over the code equivalent. So as simple as this, hang on. Right, so like in the blueprint, we have the actor class. So we've got our spline inheriting from the actor, and all we do is override the onConstruction method, and we have our spline component and the mesh that we want to generate. So, like we did before, we create a default sub-object for the spline component. You can call it whatever you like. And then we need to find the wall mesh, which is in my models folder. So I've just got a reference. I got a reference to this. The old copy reference here. And then so we get the mesh, we set the root component as the spline, and then the important bit is all in here. So what we want to do, make sure that the spline component is obviously not null. We then want to loop through the same way that we do in the blueprint, through every single point along the spline. And each time we do this, we want to create a new spline mesh component, assign the static mesh. I don't know why this is all the way over here. We then want to set the forward axis, and in this instance it's X. It will be different based on your whatever mesh you end up using. We want it to have physics, sort of for collision, because obviously it's a wall. It kind of helps to be, not be able to walk through them. We then attach it to the component, which in our case is the spline. So these are some things where I went wrong the first time, and I ended up having to basically find working examples from other people. So whenever you have a component that's being created as the world, sort of inside the context of a world, you have to register the component with the world the actor exists in. Otherwise, it simply won't appear. So I think if I comment this out, just as a proof of concept, it's always good to know what you do and don't actually need to do to make stuff work. But, okay, so in this instance, oh no, there you go. It only updates when you move it. So without this line of code, it's just simply won't appear. That was my first thing I was messing up on. I only found one guide in the end that stated how to that you needed to do this, and then I noticed an issue with regards to this next line of code. If you don't have this, every single time the onConstruction method is called, the whenever you move this, it would go through the code, and the components would be continuously recreated. So if I do this now, and just show what that does, I discovered it was doing this because the top left-hand corner, the lighting objects, you see up the top here, it's already got 156 and it just keeps going up, which is just insane. And now we're lagging every time we look down here. So I actually have to delete this to stop it from doing that and put a new one down. And already, just from putting it down, it's created another 8. And then they also, this is another problem, they're also all appearing over here. So what this code here does is tells it that it's the equivalent of the construction script in the blueprint here, because this only triggers when new objects are added and not when sort of when the spline changes, not when it's moved. Whoops. So if I think that's something that I need to either restart the engine or delete this. Hang on. Some things work when you, yeah, I just need to close that. I'm not 100% sure why that is, but certain things in certain properties don't correctly go back, get set properly when you recompile the code. So, oh no, this is when it's still broken. Come on. Okay, so but you can see now the lighting needs to be rebuilt thing isn't incrementing anymore. So this just means that it's only actually updating it now when the when like new points are added. So when I do stuff like this, so it is drawing them, but it's drawing them over there. Rather unfortunate. So my next problem was the mobility. Now I had assumed that a wall would need to be static. However, it turns out that this causes the walls to always be rendered at a fixed point. I'm assuming because they can't move, they spawn at the central point of the map, then relative to the spine points. So if you set it to stationary instead, which I guess an equivalent should, when I move this, or not, this might be another one of those which needs to start. At least it's quick and it's not getting any errors this time. I worked almost all of this out, other than these three parts. It was working a minute ago. Come on. Okay, so maybe it was this. So before I changed all of these, let me... Perhaps it is the order. Yeah, okay. I 100% had this working earlier, and I think it's an order, sort of a code order problem, perhaps? Oh no, what have I done? That's unfortunate. There's a... Well, this doesn't show it very good, does it? What I was trying to do was show how to make it, well, you know, the mistakes and stuff that I had with it, and then show it actually working properly. And it does the spine thing now, but now it's completely ignoring all of this. Okay, let's go back even further. Okay, try this. Oh no, it was working like 20 minutes ago. There was something about the... I mean, I've got this set to... Let's just put this to movable real quick. It could just be that. I think maybe stationary didn't work before, but it hadn't updated. Or... No, okay. Oh, damn it. I think there's something about the order in which these two are done. I shouldn't have broken it, probably. There we go. Right. So let's just figure out what is the actual cause of the problem here. This is the sort of stuff that, I mean, I spent nearly 2 hours yesterday evening trying to get this working. So if there's now... Okay, so it still works now. Even when I swap these the other way around. Okay, well, it's just having a moment then. Anyway, proof of concept, it works, and I mean, it's what, 30 lines of code or something in total. And of course, you can expand on this. So, okay, whatever. Maybe it was this mobility thing. In any case, so let's say we wanted to add in a system that allowed you to make doors in certain sections of the spline. So can I do this now? I think I can get that. Yeah, or at least get the idea of it, and then go from there. So let's say we wanted the ability to insert like a door at fixed points along the spline. So the easiest way to do this would be to have let's say, an array, a map of integer to static mesh. So in the Unreal Engine, you create a T array, and a T array is that's a T map. And then you want, so we would want int 32, and then use static mesh. And then this would be, I don't know, let's call it mesh variance, right? I'm just gonna capture that. So something to note when you're working with arrays, you always want to add the reference modifier to the getter. I don't know why this is called. Okay, that's set, and this is get. So what we want is this accessible within the blueprint. Essentially, actually, do we actually care about that? Let's do it outside of the blueprints entirely. So we want to get this door model. So we go get the reference. We go into the wall spline, and we do the equivalent of this. And we do it manually. So I'll just paste that. Copy that. Okay, and then we call this door. Okay, and then I can use this to introduce this. Okay, so all that's done is added another static mesh type there. So we go into our, don't need the, we go into here, and let's say we want to add a door on the, I don't know, the third point. So we'd very simply, what do we call it, mesh variance. Is it puts? It's been a while since I've worked with these. It's usually put. Find or add. Let me just quickly check an existing project just to make sure I don't do anything wrong here. Oh, I always forget. I always forget. Like, it's usually really good with all this sort of stuff. Find. Okay, maybe not. Yeah, let's just add. Okay. Interesting. Why is it only taken one? No. What? Well, that's new to me. Why is it only taking one parameter? I'm not trying. Okay. Different kind of map? No. Okay, so they've changed something about these, and I have absolutely no idea what it is now. So I'm going to use the wonderful Unreal Engine documentation. And see if it's yep, okay. It's just missing it for some reason. So I'm just going to do that. And we want on the second one, this is 0 index, and one. Come on. Thank you. Gee. So we're just going to add a few more points. Hopefully this works. It's just a simple map. Maps are just a pair of properties. It failed. Hide this. Not convert from. Oh Jesus. This is so easy. Why is this having trouble? I'll try and find another example. I use these things all the time. They're like the primary thing I use. Array map. Okay, let's find this. Good grief. Again, it's just to add. Okay, that's mesh variance. Have I defined it correctly? tmap u property. The pointer to a static mesh. Okay, well, I'm a little confused, to say the least. This is like one of the single most basic premises for data storage, where you combine a key and a value together, and then you look up the value in the key, pass in a 1 and get whatever's at number 1 or something. How can this be? Okay, let's go about it an even simpler way and make it more straightforward, perhaps. This can't possibly not work. And let's actually make this changeable in here. Not U functions, the property bit here. Oh. Door points. And then all we have to do we look up. Yeah, so it'd be if doesn't have a contains on these, does it? Oh, jeez. Okay, well, I'm gonna have to, don't know, find. This is when I find out that they've gone and changed all of the most primitive functionality in this. Okay, whatever. Okay. Sorry, I'll explain this in just a sec. Okay, so we're looping through all of the points in the array, find one that matches the current position along the spine we are. We use the door mesh, otherwise we use the wall mesh. No. Okay, you know what? Let's get rid of those. Oh wait, this actually worked. Oh, good God. Okay, so it complained about that to start with, and now it works. So I didn't have a bloody clue what's wrong with it. In any case, should now have access to door points. So we go with 3. Hey, awesome, there you go. Right, proof of concept. We now can add in insert doors anywhere along the array, and it adds a door. So if we pull this back, let's put it on 3 actually. Pull that across. And it's just mesh, it's not a functional door, but you know, you can add in your own custom meshes and stuff anywhere along it. And just changing this. However, considering this now actually works, let's do this and make it use this instead. Sorry if I'm going too quickly here. So it'd be if what did I call it? Mesh variance dot contains no, fine. Fine. It's not capital. No, it's not. Okay. Then what else here? Don't need the if. Comment this out. Otherwise, blah, blah, blah. Click mesh at that index there. Build, rebuild. Right, what's it going to be complaining about this time? Come on, you can do this. Ugh. Wow, it's so slow. Yeah, okay. Intriguing. Find is not a member of. Well, you know, when you kind of give me the option to use this method, it kind of makes it apparent that it is a method. I don't know what add actually means. Like, there's no documentation. Oh, yeah, I'm aware. Hang on. Really? What could you possibly have problems? Okay, I'm gonna stay Right, there we go. A lot of work for not much gain most of the time. can spend hours faffing around with individual bugs and things. Why does it have 5? Oh, gee. See, this is why, like, come on. So what should I use? Get? At? Probably not. You're supposed to use these now. I don't understand this anymore. Why would you ever want find or add? Like, for what purpose? I just want to get the instance. I want to get the value by the key, nothing more. You can't have changed it that fundamentally. Sorry, I'm just trying to find an example where they get values. That's great and all, you can remove them, you can shrink them. Like, where is that? Oh, okay, so it's just a normal. Don't have fine. Didn't work. Okay, let's just try it then. Errored again. Sorry if you can hear that sound, it's horrible. What are you complaining about? Yeah. So we've got find is not a member of. Well, apparently it is, because I wouldn't be able to do this otherwise. Okay, is it just as straightforward as this then? Come on. I don't remember it being like that. When did the editor have sounds? But it's really loud for me. Go, right. Wait, did that work this time? Okay, right, it worked. Okay, now we just need to do count. This should be like insanely straightforward. No, not have. Oh, I mean, you put it there. I didn't give you that option. Yeah, okay, you don't have me doing that. I'm really not sure what's going on with all of this. There's really, really primitive functionality that just doesn't seem to work. Come on now. So why do I have access to this? Is this a private property now? Insanity. How am I supposed to determine whether or not something exists or I access it? I can't get a count of the amount of things in the list. Try that. Do an uppercase find, which apparently doesn't exist, but basic with that. You happy now? So why didn't I have access to that before? You didn't even show it as a possibility. Oh my god. It really is meant to be that straightforward. Okay, so we're going to here. Good, right, I can move the door around. Funny that. Cool. Now I can change this from the door to the lever. Which will look a bit weird, but whatever, I guess it's, there it is. Template floor. You know what? Right, whatever. Proof of concept. There you go. You make a map, and you can do fancy things with it. Here we put in a door here. Add a new element to the array. Set it at 3. Make it a door. Lo and behold, we have multiple doors. Set it at 4. What if we set it at 6? It doesn't care. Cool. 4. And then if we add another point. Ta-da! Right. Good grief. far too many issues with Visual Studio trying to figure stuff out. But there you go. Whatever, we have a working spline component, we can manipulate it in any way we want. We could make this randomly select from a list of meshes, we could make it work out what point is the last in the list, and always add like an end to the spline. You know, all that kind of stuff. Make it pick from buildings or whatever it is you want to use it for. And it just behaves like a everyday spline. Now we have doors and walls. Right. And this all still works. In theory. The door works. Lever's a bit hard to click on apparently. Awesome. I changed the lighting, made it a bit darker and stuff as well. Thought it would get better. Anyway, so that took a lot longer than I thought, but I guess it shows how some things are very trivial problems, and you wouldn't necessarily be able to fix a lot of them without knowing what's causing the problem. Like overall, my problem was the mobility here. That's why it wasn't spawning. It wasn't adjusting the position of the walls from the 0, 0 position. So, and then we have the other issue of it generating loads and loads of objects at the same time, which is solved by this user construction script line here. And you just don't get told these things. You'd have to look for quite a long time sometimes to find this sort of information. It did take me nearly 2 years to get my first game actually to a stage where it was all completely playable with UI and stuff all working and AI casting abilities, and you had like squad members following you around, all that kind of stuff. The code was relatively straightforward, but things like this you can get stuck on for months before you realize what the problem is, and it turns out it's like a one line of code issue. So yeah, and I don't know what was going on with here. I'm surprised that I wasn't able to find that in this list. It's there as a lowercase but not as an uppercase, which generally means this is a protected method. And it's got all of this nonsense in here, whereas an actual method's got all of this. Yeah. Anyway, I will spend the next couple of days reminding myself how to do stuff with the HUD. My plan will be to make it so we draw on little interactable markers that go directly on top of like the doors and the levers and stuff. So as you're moving around, you see little icons appear and disappear as and when they come on the screen. That should be fairly straightforward, but once you get that kind of thing working, it's a short step from something like that to making like a quest log and making UI that goes above your character and all that kind of stuff. It all uses the same concept. And like with this, I mean, this is just a spline that generates meshes, and you can do whatever the hell you want with them. You can do some really clever stuff with calculations of where the spines get placed, or randomize the meshes, or even and you can even procedurally generate the splines. This is all we have to do in like begin play would be something like, I'd assume it's add spline point. You just give it a position and job done, and you can then start making it so the points are generated on begin play and do all manner of stuff. Anywho, that will be it for now. This was only meant to be like a half an hour video. Hopefully some people may have learned some things from this. And I mean, best case scenario, it shows how easy some of this sort of stuff actually can be. I don't want to overly trivialize this sort of stuff, but a lot of it really is straightforward. Something that like a quest log system took me about 2 or 3 hours to figure out. It's a couple of classes that interact with each other, and then a list of subclasses that listen to events happening. You have a quest that's like kill people, so you have a quest that hooks into your character's enemy killed method, and then every time they kill an enemy, the quest gets notified about it and then updates the value, and then the character goes, oh, that's happened, and updates the HUD. And it took me like 3 hours or something to implement a fully functional quest system that gives rewards on completion. You can make a quest, reward a quest to create quest chains, and I could put in like dialogue, all that kind of. Hey, I'm going to call it there. But yeah, thanks for watching if anyone does. And I'll get onto some hard stuff. I know this is all very basic at the moment, but I've got to have a proof of concept of all the basic aspects of the C++ side of things to be able to further them and make them more intricate. I will seek out reasons to do more complicated stuff, like making a spline for particle effects, or characters that animate differently based on their spine. Just whatever. It doesn't have to be pertinent to what the game's trying to do. It just has to be exploring different uh, aspects of the Unreal Engine with C++. So yeah, there you go.